Oh, where is he?
He should be loading in just a second.
Okay. Will Davies.
Hello, David.
Hello, Will.
Hey,
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, good. How are you? Well, are you safe?
I am safe, thank you. Are you safe?
Oh, yes. We've had vaccines. Have you had them?
Yeah, I had the first one in February, the second in May.
Good. One more question. Are you still with Marks and Spencer?
Yes, I have been. And the second October.
That makes me so homesick to hear that, Will.
Well, the 2nd October will mark 5 years since I began that job. 2016. So, right.
Hey, guys, really quickly before we start, we'll just take our photo just to get it out of the way, okay?
Yes, of course.
All right, ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Enjoy the chat.
There we go. Right, okay. I have some questions here.
Yes, go ahead.
Supposing you didn't lend your voice to the Dalmatians movie, is there a Disney animation you would have liked to have lent your voice to?
Oh, yes, but I was much too young. I would love to have been in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but I was only 11 at the time. So I don't suppose, but that was, I think still, maybe even with Dalmatians, I think it's my favorite sweet and innocent film with lovely songs. So I would love to have been part of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
So have you ever auditioned for a musical at all?
I'm trying to think if I did or not. I don't believe I did. Well, I did audition for. Yes, I did. Will, it was for My Fair Lady. When I heard that someone was going to sing On the Street Where You Live, I thought, well, this is my chance, So I went to a singing coach who taught me I have a friend, and so then I auditioned, of course, for George Cukor. And George Cukor simply said no. So that was the end of my auditioning for a musical, Will.
About singing Rise Above.
Actually, Will, I am going to be singing in a film that will take a whole year to finish. Jonathan is writing the score for it, and I have to sing a song which he's written for me called Rise Above, and I'm playing Squadron Leader Thrilling. It's a comedy, and I'm a kind of a kooky ex-RAF type. So, this time I know I've got the part because they've already signed me to do the movie, and it's called, what is it, Jonathan?
Hi, Will. I can pop in here because I know you. It's called Plummet to Adventure.
Plummet to Adventure, yes. And I'm Squadron Leader Thrilling, and I have a song called Rise Above, but we'll have to wait a whole year for it to be finished because it takes a long time to work an animated feature,
Understood, yeah. About you posted a lot of photographs on Facebook of your friend Doris Lloyd.
Ah, yes.
In 1933, she was in a production of Oliver Twist in the role of Nancy.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that, yes.
What was she like, Doris?
Oh, a dear, dear, wonderful lady. I've been a huge fan of her since I saw the Lodger, and she got murdered, of course, by Laird Krieger. And when I saw that, I thought, my God, who is that wonderful woman? That was 1944. 1956, I'm doing a live show, and in walks Doris Lloyd. I must have scared her to death. I ran over to her and hugged her, and I said, hello, my name is David Frankham, and I'm a great fan of yours. And so that's how Doris and I met, and we really became good friends, went to each other's houses for lunches and dinners. She was a dear, sweet lady, not one vicious. Some actors, remember only bad things. Doris never did. Sweetest actress I've ever worked with.
Excellent.
In fact, Will, whenever we go to Los Angeles, we stop at her grave at the Forest Lawn Cemetery to pay our respects.
Yeah.
I see. That's brilliant. Do you have a book out? Which one was David? I believe it's called.
That's right. That's the name. Do you have it?
I don't, but Jonathan told me there was a funny story behind the title. What is that story?
Oh, yes. Well, I wanted to be an actor since I was 16, but my dad thought actors were sissies. So they put me up trying to be one, and they said, "No, we'll send you to art school, and you can learn to be an architect, but we don't want anything to do with acting." So during my studies as an architect, the teacher at the end of, I think it was Christmas one year, said, "Let's put on a play, and we're going to do The Merry Wives of Windsor." So to make a long story short, I was cast as Falstaff. And you can't miss Falstaff, waddling around, big fat Falstaff. So my mother dragged my father off to see a play, and he watched the whole play, and they were back on the bus going home, and my mother said, "I enjoyed that quite a lot, didn't you?" And my dad said, "Well, it was all right. Which one was David?" He didn't. So when we did the book, Jonathan and Jim Hollifield in Memphis did the book between them. We said, "What's the title?" I said, "Oh, it's got to be a tribute to my dear old dad." So that's why it's called Which One Was David?
In fact, Will, the very first time I met David, he came to my house because I was a 101 Dalmatians fan. And you know the way people say, if I ever write an autobiography, I'll call it this, but they never intend to. So finally it came about, and we said, we have to call it that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And finally, Will, my dad did a complete roundabout, and he wound up liking my acting work after all.
That's brilliant.
Took a long time for him to come around to it, though.
Oh, yeah. We talked before about your friendship with Ernie Kovacs.
Yes.
I watched a lot of What's My Line on the internet. Do you watch the show at all?
I used to, yes, I did, yes.
YouTube is where you go for that stuff now, I have to say. That's how I know what it is.
Yeah, that's true. You'd have to find it then, yeah. But yes, Ernie Kovacs, wonderfully funny, sweet man, yes.
Well, we talked also about classic films in recent times. Have you, what musicals do you like? Because I've heard you talk passionately about a lot of them.
Well, I'm passionate about almost all the MGM musicals. They were state-of-the-art productions, almost all, especially the big ones like Easter Parade, And so I simply love film musicals. They're my favorite genre. I must say, I love horror films. I love black and white films, but if I had to name my favorite genre, it would have to be the musicals. There were some good ones at Fox. Once in a while, a good one at Universal. Well, Deanna Durbin, I had a big crush on Deanna Durbin when I was 11, I think. But yeah, the MGM musicals are, for me, state of the art in every sense. Just the production values, the sound, the pictures, everything about them is said class.
Yeah. You're friends with Angela Lansbury, I'm made to.
Yes, we are.
Have you spoken to her recently?
Yes, we have. Now, we'll tell you privately, Will, that she's decided, well, she hasn't actually said to Jonathan and me, I'm not doing it anymore. But each time we've gone to Los Angeles, we told Angela we're going to be there, and she's invited us over for tea or dinner. But this time, the last time we said we'd be there, she said, well, I don't think I'll be seeing you. I'm, what did she say, Jonathan? A little tired now, did she say?
Yeah, I think just sort of her circle of life is closing, getting smaller, just her family and grandkids.
She's my age, as you know, Will. She's 95. And she said, no, I spend my happiest hours with my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. So we've had many happy visits with her in New York and Los Angeles. And, of course, I don't need to tell you, she's a lovely, lovely lady.
I'd just like to say I'm not very good at keeping secrets. Apologies.
That's all right. It's all right, Will.
Am I allowed to put this on YouTube?
Yeah, go ahead.
Of course, Will, of course.
No, I need permission here. So thank you.
All right.
Yeah, the send well wishes. I know that. I send well wishes to her myself. So
good, yes.
Thank you very much. There was a movie out a few years ago called Saving Mr. Banks, and it was about how Mary Poppins was made. Do you know the movie?
No, I don't, Will.
Well, it's basically how the film was made. They had Tom Hanks in the role of Walt Disney.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, I thought it was very good in a way. So,
you recommend it then?
I think it's a good one, yeah. And I watched Calamity Jane at the start of this year. Cause we talked about your with Doris.
I love Calamity Jane. I was privileged to become quite friendly with Doris Day, and I interviewed her at the Dorchester Hotel in 1955. She was on her way to Africa to make, what was it called, Jonathan?
The Man Who Knew Too Much.
The Man Who Knew Too Much. And so she had finished with Warner's, but when I asked her, did she have a favorite film, she said, oh, the one that's very dear to my heart is Calamity Jane. And she said, a little disappointing to me because the studio didn't get behind it. They didn't promote that wonderful score, not just Secret Love, but all of the wonderful songs. So that was Doris's take on her years at Warner Brothers.
We've got 30 seconds, unfortunately.
Oh, we only have 30 seconds.
Yeah, well,
This has been wonderful. You know, you're such a dear, dear friend.
thank you. You are as well. Thank you.
You'll always be, as long as I'm alive. And I'm only 95, so we've got years of friendship ahead of us, Will.
Hopefully we have. Excellent.
Thank
All the
you.
best.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
8, 7, 6,
6, 5.